Well, good morning, friends. Welcome to Real Life on the Homestead in Ontario. I am in the process of washing out a hell of a lot of jars because it is tomato season. That means I'm going to be pretty much canning for the next 3 to 4 days. I have got about 6 bushels of tomatoes ready to make into different meals, pasta sauce, pizza sauce, chili. But one thing I have to do is a lot of jars because I always run them through the dishwasher right before canning. But today's video has nothing to do with tomato sauce. I need to make some egg bites. So what I want to share with you today is, if you've been to Starbucks and you've had those egg bites and you think, oh my goodness, they're so delicious, but have you seen the cost? I went online because I purchased them once, thought they were great, but holy smokes, the cost is ridiculous. Let me show you a screenshot if I was to order before I pick up of the cost here in Canada. Okay, friends, this is crazy. After tax, $6.38 for 2 egg bites. And my concern with that is it's probably sprayed in the pan with seed oils, and I avoid seed oils as much as possible. But the rest of it is great. The concept is great. Isn't that crazy? 2 egg bites. I could probably make a huge batch. I don't figure out the costs. But you know what? I got really busy being tomato season and other things happening. I have some of the cottage cheese I buy from Costco, the Kirkland brand. Doesn't need to be fancy. I like this for egg bites because it's quick. It's a great price. They come in packages of 2. But I was an idiot. I forgot about them in the fridge. And I actually have, oh my goodness, gonna drop everything. I have 4 tubs that are just about to expire. I'm not wasting food. I never waste food. So what I'm going to do is make a bunch of egg bite batches. I will cook some, so I'll show you the whole process. But then I'm actually going to just freeze the mixture. So when I do want egg bites, I could take them out of the freezer, leave them in the fridge overnight. The next morning, they're defrosted, and I could just make a batch. The other thing is you could cook all the egg bites up because they freeze beautifully. Now, the beautiful thing about these egg bites is they are silky, they are fluffy. You can add anything to the filling, anything. The base is eggs, cottage cheese, and a pinch of salt. That's your base. Carnivore friends, it's perfect for you. You can, cook up batches, throw them in the fridge, just snack on them every once in a while. That's what I do. Or throw them in the freezer and just take out a few at a time. Works great. Now you want to get a little bit more adventurous. Add in cheeses. Cheddar, bacon. The one that you usually get at Starbucks is bacon and Gruyere. Beautiful mixture. I can't get that cheese too often, but I've done smoked Gouda. Fantastic. Feta, Swiss cheese. I'm trying to think of all the ones. Cheddar, of course. Old cheddar, medium cheddar, they're all good. So there's a lot of variations. And then you can add extras. Any kind of meat. Chopped bacon, chopped salami, chopped ham, leftover ground from when you had taco night. Anything could be added. So cheeses, meats, they're great. And you could also do like veggies, chopped onion, garlic, peppers. If you do feta and spinach, that's a really nice treat. So the combinations are endless. It's all up to you, what you like, as long as you have that base. Let me show you how simple the base is. Okay, so let's talk about the equipment I use, and I think it's really important. You need a high-speed blender. I use my Vitamix, and the reason I use the Vitamix is it blends so high and it's so smooth. the trick to getting that sous vide texture without using a sous vide, using the Instant Pot instead, is by blending that cottage cheese super smooth where there's zero chunks. That's what makes that fluffy, creamy texture. So a high-powered blender, super important. The other thing is the Instant Pot. You do need an Instant Pot for this recipe, and it's a great way to use the Instant Pot. I love my Instant Pot. I use it for so many things. If you follow my channel, you know I use it often. The other thing you're going to need, and it does make a difference, is you need these silicone molds. I get these on Amazon, and I will link below in case you want to grab them. You get a pack of 2. They come with lids. So you place this in the Instant Pot. You can do it double layer that way. I always find the bottom layer is a little nicer than the top layer, but really it doesn't make too much of a difference, because unless you're serving them and you want them to look perfectly beautiful, then it works. If you're doing it just for snacks, do 2 layers. It works great. So these I will link below. Many recipes you'll find online will tell you to spray this with, things like Pam or spray oil, whatever. I don't use seed oils. And so what I do is I take a little bit of bacon grease. I use the bacon grease, but if I don't have bacon grease, I just use semi-rendered lard, because I always have lard on hand. Stick my finger in, nothing fancy. Yes, my hands are clean. Don't even question that. And I just go around the mold with my finger. These are silicone molds, and they're supposed to be non-stick, but sometimes they stick. And I want these to be beautiful, but it's a very, very light coating. But using the bacon grease or lard is a good healthy fat, does exactly what you need it to do. So I'm gonna get this greased up while I'm talking to you. If there's other fantastic carnivore ideas that you use your Instant Pot for, please share them with me, because I'd love to turn around and share them with others. Our channel has been so fantastic for sharing. People will comment on my videos and then give me their opinion. I welcome everybody's knowledge. The whole idea is to share knowledge. This isn't a fancy YouTube channel. You already know that just by the condition of my hair every time I do a video. Don't give a hoot. All I want to do is share good, healthy information. A lot of carnivore diets, because I do try to live the carnivore lifestyle. I go off the beaten path every once in a while because I get tempted. Prince, go away. Puppy's talking because I've got my meat ready. So that's my mold is greased. I like to cook down some bacon. I always cook my bacon in the oven and chop it up, and I use that for many times. However, we had a charcuterie board the other day, and I have leftover calabrese salami. So I'm gonna be using this in today's batch, and I use scissors to cut my meat if I want it really tiny. So I'm just gonna cut this really small, put it aside, and I will put these into each mold individually. I'll show you that after. I'm just doing this because Puppy is whining because he can smell it, so I gotta get it out of the way. Otherwise, when I'm not looking, he will jump up and steal it. Try to keep them from doing things like that, but they're not stupid. They can smell it, they're gonna go for it. So let me show you what I like to do. And like I said, this is how I do it. I know there's other recipes out there that are a little different, and that's great. You do what works best for you. This is how I like to do things. I get a sieve. Let me just turn the camera down here. I take a sieve and I take my cottage cheese. Now, generally, people will just say measure your cottage cheese and dump it into the blender. Personally, I don't like that slimy goo. I think that's probably where most of the carbs are even, not the actual cheese. And you're gonna laugh at me, but this is lazy mode. I'm not washing this container. I'm saving it. Just gonna put it aside. I'll show you why later. And now I'm just gonna run this under some water to rinse it off. This is what I end up with. Just the cottage cheese, none of that slime or sodium that's been added that may not be the kind of salt I want. I want to use the salt that I choose, and I do my pink Himalayan. Redmond's real salt works really well. I do a pinch. Pinch is about a half a teaspoon. This is going into the blender. Now, can you see this okay? There we go. So I'm putting, this is 2 cups because it was a container of cottage cheese. And this is my recipe. 1 container, 12 eggs. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my beautiful farm fresh eggs, and you don't need to watch me separate eggs. You don't need to watch me crack eggs, but all I'm doing, and I do this into a bowl just in case any of the eggs are not nice. I like to crack my eggs into a separate bowl to make sure that they are perfect. These are fresh eggs from my chickens, but if you're getting store-bought eggs, I would highly recommend always crack your eggs separately before adding it to the main container. Last thing you want to do is crack a bad egg into a batch of 12 eggs and then ruin the whole thing, especially when the cheese is already in there. So this is what I do. Let's talk about the different flavors you can make this, because honestly, I want you to experiment with everything you enjoy. Chive, cheddar, beautiful. You could make this a sweet dish if you wanted to by adding fruit. I love cilantro, so there has been a few times where I've done cilantro and leftover steak chopped up. Like I said, these are a great snack, but oh geez, but it's also a great carnivore backup. I have had comments before on some egg recipes on eggs are expensive right now. Can I tell you, a bag of chips is expensive. A chocolate bar is expensive. And when you're comparing it to eggs, it's disgusting, because what you're doing is paying for absolutely no nutritional value, no substance, yet you're complaining about the price of eggs. Come on, let's be real. So there we go. 12 eggs, pinch of salt, 2 cups of cottage cheese, and this blender is going on. I'm gonna get the top on here. I'm gonna blend it. It's quite loud, but I am going to blend it until I absolutely see no little specks of cheese in there. Now I take my little mold, and whatever type of meat you want, bacon is my go-to. I usually have bacon in these, but like I said, I had this calabrese salami, which I absolutely love, has beautiful spice to it, and I want to use it up. I am going to do a whole tray with this salami. What goes great with salami, people? Come on, think about it. Italian cheeses. So I think I will add a couple of flakes of fresh Parmesan cheese, and I'm just gonna take my potato peeler to get some shavings of Parmesan cheese because I like to either grate it or shave it as I use it. So let me just go grab that. Perfect. Now this is about a half a teaspoon or a teaspoon of meat in here. That's how I like it. The weather is turning outside, so I apologize, it's getting a little dark in here. What I do is I take my blender of eggs, and it gets pretty foamy. See that? So what I like to do to take that foam away is just run the mixture through the sieve so that the foam stays on top. You don't have to do this. It's just one way that I ensure that I have a smooth mixture. Place that aside. You notice that that sieve is the one I drain my cheese in. I'm not doing dishes unnecessarily. Now I'm just gonna pour into each egg bite, and you should go about 3/4 of the way up. First one I did a little bit too much, but 3/4 of the way seems to be perfect. Nice. Now you could add also some pepper to this. I'm trying to do this as carnivore as possible. And then I've just taken my Parmesan cheese and used a potato peeler to get some nice flakes of Parmesan. And I'm just gonna put one on each, or a little bit on each one, just for that Parmesan flavor. I think that'll go really nice with the calabrese salami. You could blend this right into your mixture if you wanted to. I like to have that chunk of cheese, so I am putting it on top. But when I do bacon and cheddar, many times I will put that in the blender and blend it all together. To this, I am placing on my silicone lid, and in my Instant Pot, I am putting a cup of water in the bottom. I am grabbing my trivet. This item comes with your Instant Pot when you buy it. And this is going into the Instant Pot. Gonna grease up my next mold, because I am just having these as snacks. I will do a double layer in my pot. Getting a little bit generous with my bacon grease. I guess it's because I love the friggin' stuff, but you don't need to put that much. You literally just need a tiny, tiny, tiny coating. And I tell you, God-given tools. Your hand is your best tool. Just clean that off. With this one, I am just gonna simply do my egg mixture, nothing added. Just a very plain egg bite. I need a little bit more of a mixture in here. This is actually great because I'll be able to tell you how many you can make with this recipe by doing it all at once. So what I can say, I'm looking at what I have. I think the recipe of 2 cups of cottage cheese and 12 eggs will get you, I'd say 20 egg bites. So think about that compared to 2 egg bites for over $6 or 20 egg bites for a dozen eggs and a tub of cottage cheese. Do the math, it's simple. Okay, so I have placed both my molds in here with the lids on, with the trivet. I put 1.5 cups of water in there. 1 cup if you're just doing 1 tray is more than enough. Place the lid on, set it to seal, and we are going to pressure cook on high for 8 minutes. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna let this go 8 minutes and then natural release for 10. So once it natural releases for 10, I will manually vent the rest. While those are cooking, let me show you what I do to save these for future use. I'm going to make several batches. My chickens are being very generous with their eggs right now. So the tub, I did rinse it out. I am just going to fill up the tub. Not completely full, but let's say half an inch from the top. Place the lid on. Label it, because if you don't label your stuff, I don't care how smart you are, you will forget what's in it. There we go. I am placing this in the freezer for when I need to just grab very quickly, throw it in the fridge. The next morning, I can cook some. And that's what I'm gonna do with 2 of my tubs. I have another one. Where the hell is it? Go, another tub, doing the exact same thing. And I am gonna make sure that none of my eggs or my cottage cheese is going to waste. Perfect. And those are going in the freezer. Our time is up. It's been slow releasing for 10 minutes. I'm just gonna go switch it to vent. And as you can see, there's barely any steam in there at all. The pin is gonna drop. And that means I can now open the Instant Pot. Now, did you know that when you lift up your lid, you could actually just place it there and it drains into that little catch and in the little tub at the back? A lot of people don't realize that they could just put their lid on there and they're putting it on their counter. So here are our egg bites. Let me pull them out so you can see how beautiful they are. Now these are warm. One of the reasons I love using these little, the trivet. Just gonna pull that off let the steam come out. Oh, beautiful. Move that one over. Open up the next one. Be careful because steam will come out of this. Gorgeous. Oh. So now, all I'm gonna do is take these beauties, flip them onto a plate. Do a little bit of a poke on each one, and let's see how they come out. Let's see if they make a liar out of me with the bacon grease. No, just a little tiny bit of sticking in the middle one, but look at these. These are super hot. I'm crazy to eat them now, but I'm crazy, so here we go. Let's take this one that's not so pretty, but you see how gorgeous they are? Move those over. They are a very, very light and beautiful texture. Super hot. I know they're going to be super hot. They're so good. Honestly, you have to try these bites. See what I mean of when the camera's off, how things turn out differently? Those were the ones that I had the calabrese salami. These ones here are just plain. Look how pretty they are. They all taste friggin' delicious. These are such a good, healthy, nourishing snack. And you know, as I was cooking these and the camera was off, I thought of more delicious things I've tried in the past. What I've done is I put about half a teaspoon of pizza sauce in each mold, added the egg mixture, and added a slice of pepperoni on top. And they are like pizza bites. Fantastic. You really can stick to a carnivore diet. And if you're using that pizza sauce, it'll be keto. But you can do this as ways to snack and enjoy. And if you want, put a little drizzle of maple syrup while you're blending, and you've got like a cheesecake. Oh my goodness, how simple is this? I hope that you try this recipe. I hope you start making these and keeping them ready to go in your freezer, or just make a batch. And people will ask, well, it's so simple, which it is. Why bother freezing it? Number one, my cottage cheese was gonna go off and I didn't wanna waste it. Also, the chickens don't lay as much in the winter. So if I have these little tubs sitting in the freezer, I don't have to worry about using the eggs I do have that I might wanna have as a fried egg or a poached egg. I can use these blended eggs and make these delicious, friggin' delicious bites. And yes, I know somebody's gonna ask me about the logo on my shirt, because somebody always does. My husband worked over 25 years for Catholic cemeteries in the GTA, and he has a lot of leftover work shirts now that he's retired, and it's cold outside, so I just grab any shirt I can get. But for now, go out, live your best life. I'm glad you joined me. Thanks for watching. Make sure you share this with your friends. We'll talk to you next time. Fantastic.